Ladies and gentlemen,
We're talking Aztecs. So let's get the best source.
Key to our success, though, is the defense and the rebounding.
This is the Brian Dutcher Show. Get the latest info about the Scarlet and Black as we talk to the man at the top.
We got to have an 8, 9, 10-man rotation because it's a hard conference.
The Brian Dutcher Show is sponsored by ShopAztecs.com. ShopAztecs.com is your official store for team apparel. Visit ShopAztecs.com for the latest Sdsu gear and Kaiser Permanente for all that is San Diego for all that is you. Now, it's the Brian Dutcher Show.
All right, Brian Dutcher Show, San Diego Sports 760, as we get ready for the final regular season game of the 2024-25 season. That is hard to believe. It's San Diego State hosting Nevada, and this will be Saturday night at 7:30. It's a whiteout. All fans encouraged to wear white. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere. Get there early. It is senior night. Now, Dutch, I know you touched on this earlier. If you have a question, by the way, for Brian Dutcher, you can get those in. We'll get to him. 70470. Text us. Start the message with the word team. The more you do this, do the seasons go quicker or slower or somewhere in between? And thanks for joining.
They go at a snail's pace until they get to the end, and then you're wondering where all the time went. So every season has a different pace. You know, I felt this one felt a little longer because we had to go so intense in July trying to get ready for the Players Era event, you know, and we knew the competition was going to be stiff early in the season, and so we went really hard, and so obviously that takes a toll as the season goes on.
Also, I'm trying to think, like in recent history, like the injury that you had to overcome to start your year, that's not something you deal with year in and year out. Like losing Reese Waters in the manner in which you did, like it was late in the offseason. It's not like you found out in June you wouldn't have him, or you found out in the middle of the season something happened. Like you lost him a couple of weeks before the season. I mean, that was extremely impactful because, like you said, all summer long you're thinking you're going to have Reese, and then Reese ends up not being available to you all year long.
Yeah, you could just say, okay, let's look at the first-team all-conference players. Donovan Dent, what would New Mexico be without him?
Right.
Neat Clifford, what would Colorado State be without Neat Clifford? Davidson tomorrow from Nevada, what would they be without Davidson? And that's the company that Reese was mentioned in to start the year, a first-team all-conference selection, and we go a whole year without him. And to our credit, we found a way to fight through it and play really good basketball, really competitive basketball. And then we lose possibly the freshman of the year, Magoon Gua, 4 games ago, and hopefully we can get him back. But we've suffered some injuries, but yet we don't sit there and cry about it. It's the reality of what we do. And next man up, and we found a way to win games without him, including a really good home win against New Mexico, tough road win at Wyoming, and then obviously we suffered a tough road loss at UNLV. But nobody cares who you don't have. You play with what you have, and I think we've done a good job of that.
I'll ask you more about Goon in a moment because there's already 2 questions on the text line about his availability moving forward. And like you said, you know, at the end of the day, like the results are the results. I think in the NBA they talk about like sometimes when you play like a back-to-back, they're like there's kind of like scheduled losses in the NBA. Like there's some tough scheduling snafus in an NBA schedule. I thought you were in one of those situations here recently because you went Saturday night Laramie. You're supposed to get back Saturday night. You don't. You get back Sunday. And the next day you're in Vegas. And then you play Tuesday night. Again, at the end of the day, no one on the selection committee is going to be any the wiser to it. But that was one of those situations where UNLV had the extra day. You were traveling all over the country. And that obviously wasn't favorable for you Tuesday night.
No, and I thought we looked like we were on tired legs at times. And we fought hard to overcome that. We played a competitive game. But when you run into a night where the opposition makes 12 for 24 from 3, we know it's going to be a long night. And they weren't like we were lazy and couldn't find shooters. These are guys shooting step-back threes off the dribble. Yeah. And they were contested, but like I said, these are 6'5" guards shooting over 6-foot guards at times. And sometimes it's harder to contest those shots.
So a couple of texts already just asking about the availability of Magoon Gwath or the latest on Magoon Gwath.
He was seeing the doctors tonight. So we were practicing today. He rehabbed hard during practice. He'll see the doctors tonight to kind of get a feel for where he's at. And I would say it would be a stretch to think he would be available for the Nevada game. He hasn't been on the practice floor in almost 2 weeks. But we'll see. Maybe they'll give him some clearance to start working out again. I'm not sure. If we can get him on the floor, maybe more realistically, it'll be conference tournament. So we're holding out hope. But like I said before, John, we're never going to bring a guy back that's not ready to go. Magoo's got too bright a future to run a risk right now with his career.
There's no question about it. 70470 started with the word team. All right, let's transition to senior night. You've been through these, obviously, throughout your career, assistant or a head coach. We touched on this a little bit earlier during your media availability. Things are just a little different right now in the college space. So I just go back to a couple of years ago, Dutch, and I'm thinking about 4th and 5th and 6th year players on your program, the Agwuka Ropes and the Nathan Mensahs and the Adam Seikos and the Lamont Butlers, and that list goes on and on. Matt Mitchell, Jordan Shackle, and it goes well beyond that as well. Now on this senior night, you got a lot of guys that have only been with you for a year. They've still been very impactful for you, but it just seemingly has changed here, obviously right in front of our eyes over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously DeMarche will go through senior night. He's got a year left, much like Agwuka went through it and came back another year. But then you've got Chemo 1 year, you got Jared Coleman-Jones 1 year, Wayne McKinney 1 year guy, and then you got the walk-ons, Ryan and Desai, that have been in the program 2 and 3 years, but maybe aren't as familiar to the fans because they haven't got all those starter minutes, but have been valuable to the program. So we will honor each and every one of them and be sad to see them go, no question.
Yeah, it's amazing because when you think about the players that you added for 1 year, you were hoping to fill certain roles. Like Jared Coleman-Jones has filled some huge roles for you, obviously, this year. His lone season, there's no redshirt year anymore. There's no sitting out. You got to be available from day one. I go back to that Houston game. I'm just recollecting in my mind how impactful he was in that game, hitting shots, rebounding in that game. You were asking a lot of Jared coming in, right? From Middle Tennessee State to the way you play defense here. What has he shown you over the last half year?
He's been fantastic. I mean, the 3 threes he made against Houston to be one of the top teams in the country. He was playing the center position for us, Magoon the power forward. And now Magoon's out, so Jared's had to shift positions, play more of a stretch 4, and he's done everything we've asked of him, and it has not been easy. That's a tough position to play, but I couldn't be more proud of Jared and the job he's done for us.
And then, again, with your San Diegans, I mean, Wayne McKinney III specifically, you have followed his career, Dutch, from the time that he was, a teenager, obviously, watching him at Coronado and then watching him at the University of San Diego. And then that opportunity presents itself this offseason. Lamont leaves, and then Wayne McKinney arrives at San Diego State. What has it been like to coach a player that you've surrounded yourself with for the last handful of years?
I mean, Wayne came here to win. And he had fabulous numbers and did a great job at USD, but he never won in the fashion he wanted to win. So he's winning, and he's had to take a different role to do it. He's come off the bench, but who will ever forget the length of the floor layup against Air Force? I mean, 4 seconds length of the floor to win a game for us. I mean, he's had those kind of game winners in his career. And so Wayne is tough as nails. I mean, yes, in the Vegas game, when we were down, his ball pressure single-handedly almost brought us back to a victory. And so Wayne has been invaluable. And then Chemo, I watched Chemo start his career at Saints, then move over to Francis Parker with Jim Tomey. He went to Brown. I've always been a fan of Chemo's. For him to come back and give us the senior year that he's given us. He's a fan favorite. Rebounds the ball, shoots in the 3, hustles all the time. And so to have 2 San Diegans come in and play 1 year for the city school, and we've got other good schools in the city, obviously, but to come back and play for San Diego State has been really rewarding to watch as a head coach.
I feel as if I've heard some of the players reflect, Dutch, on, and of course the season isn't over, but they reflected on a moment at San Jose State when you were down 17 at the half, and I think it might have been Nick Boyd that said, listen, Wayne McKinney, who's not very vocal, was pretty vocal in that moment, as if to say, like, we've put too much into this to let this thing slip away right here, right now. Like, we're capable of more than what we just showed the first 20 minutes of that game. I mean, has Wayne been, obviously he's been a leader on floor with his experience, his veteran play. All he wants to do is win, but that must have been, well, we'll see how this all ends up, but that was a pretty impactful moment looking back.
No question. The shot at Air Force to win a game, the talk at halftime he had with the team, down 17 at San Jose, and then to score the first 18 points of the second half. these kids are impactful in different ways. Sometimes it's on the floor, sometimes it's with their voice. And Wayne has been everything we'd hoped he'd be.
With Chemo, did he just kind of force his way into the rotation, so to speak? As in, like, you didn't necessarily know the role he would fill maybe when he signed because you still had Reese and you've had these veteran guards. But as the season's gone on, it just seems like there's been opportunities and he's taken advantage of them.
Yeah, he shows it in practice every day. And so until you show it in practice, you don't get to show it in the game. And so losing Reese created more minutes for the bench guards. He came in and filled that role. We were struggling in certain games. He comes in with his attitude, his effort, his energy, his ability to make a three, and he's proven more than valuable to help us come back in games where it looked like we were out of them.
Yeah, he's really has. And like you said, he's kind of turned into the mayor of San Diego here over the last half year as well. I want to talk more about senior night and Nevada on the other side. We've got Brian Dutcher with us for the next 10 or so minutes. If you have a question, I'll get to him on the other side.
Dream big. Find out how at richardgroup.com. Richard, building with purpose so you can live with passion. Go Aztecs. It's the Brian Dutcher Show on the home of San Diego State. San Diego Sports 760.
All right, Brian Dutcher Show here, San Diego Sports 760. Regular season finale is senior night, Saturday at 7:30. It is a whiteout. If tickets remain, they would be at goaztecs.com. Get there early. Senior night festivities, then Aztecs Wolfpack Saturday night at 7:30. Critical game, obviously, here late in the regular season. All right, I do want to get to a couple of texts here, Dutch. 70470 started with the word team. I'll start with this from 858. He says, how concerned are you about the team's free throw percentage the past couple of games?
Yeah, we got to make free throws. You got to make free throws to win close games. And it's guys that have shot them at a high percentage that are missing some now. You know, Nick Boyd missed a couple. Obviously, at Wyoming, we had a chance to really ice the game.
Right.
Jared missed two. We had guys miss free throws down the stretch. And it's not the bad free throw shooters. It's the good free throw shooters. So it's a confidence thing. It's a routine thing. You got to get in the gym. You got to shoot them. You got to shoot them the same way every time. You got to have the same thought in your head. And it's easy to say, but you step in there in a close game and 12,000 people are screaming at you. It's a whole different thing than shooting him in an empty gym.
I'm always amazed they're made at the percentages that they're even made at. I mean, you think like the pressure situations, it's just unbelievable. I remember a couple of years ago, Matt Bradley was outspoken about some of his late game struggles at the free throw line. This was the year you lost to Creighton in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Of course, the rest is history. You guys are in the national championship game the next year, but Matt Bradley's one of the best scorers you've ever had in the program, and he was a guy that had some difficulties at times at the line.
That's it. It's in anything you do, John. If you lose confidence in what you're doing, whether you're trying to putt a golf ball or you see the professional baseball players get the yips throwing the ball from shortstop to first base or second to first. And once you lose some of that confidence and you get in your head, then it gets harder. And so we're trying not to put too much pressure on them to get them to believe in their routine, step up with confidence, and knock them down.
Yeah, nothing else you can really do. 858 follows up by saying, what do you think is the biggest difference in coaching a team with more underclassmen than upperclassmen this year compared to previous years?
You just have to have more patience, you know, and you want them to play at the highest level, but at times they're young. You know they're going to make young mistakes. It's part of the journey. And, you know, especially we went to a national championship game playing with fifth-year seniors, sixth-year seniors, guys that have played a lot of basketball, and there's nothing more valuable than experience. And so we're throwing guys out there, freshmen, sophomores, and they're gaining experience. But it always comes at a cost. You know, you're not as good young as you are old.
And you've talked about that before, and that's where really the most remarkable part about this team is you've gotten them to play at a high level. You've picked up wins along the way. There's been a level of consistency, and you've gotten this team to 20-8 heading into this Saturday against Nevada. Now, this is the second time you'll see Nevada this year. Of course, you've coached against Coach Alford for an eternity at this point. Nevada has been in almost every game they've played this year. They've got great veteran pieces. They're one of the older teams in the league. So how do you look at Saturday and what type of effort or what it's going to take to win a game like this?
We played one of our better games of the year at Nevada. I think we had 21 assists on 27 baskets. So we shared the ball, we moved the ball, we played at a high level. And so that does not guarantee us the same success this time around. Everybody makes adjustments. Davidson is a first-team all-conference type of a player. Saunders is scoring the ball at a high level. Now, they've had some injuries. Coleman's out. Foster's out. But they've had other guys step up in their absence. And so it'll be a different team than we played the first time. Yet we have to play as hard as we can for as long as we can and get the Viejas crowd behind us and see if we can't propel ourselves to our 21st victory.
So, and I asked you about this earlier during your media availability, but when you're in an environment like that, there's so much emotion coming into something like this. You have family, you have players playing in final collegiate home games. You just have everything that goes into a senior night. But then all of that ends and immediately the game starts. Nevada's just waiting. They're just waiting for the game to start. It doesn't have the same impact on them that it's going to have on your team. So what do you have to do to kind of refocus the energy after the senior night festivities end and then you try to put your team in the best position to win such an important game?
Like I said, this will be our third senior night in a row we played in. It was senior night with Laramie. It was senior night at UNLV, and it's going to be senior night at San Diego State. And so this time we'll be the ones being honored before the game. And so we have to enjoy that moment. Don't get stressed that there's a game after it. Enjoy being honored. Then come to the bench, take a deep breath, follow the game plan, and go out and play Aztec basketball for 40 minutes.
619 offer text line 70470. Start it with the word team. He asked, let's see, with the emphasis on three-point attempts, why wouldn't the low post offense make a comeback in order to create the defense to drop down towards the rim and leave more opportunities for the three? I don't know if that's a general question or about SDSU or not.
No, it's obviously, you have to play inside out at times.
Yep.
Most teams now are trying to drive it into the paint to get the defense to shrink and then kick out for a three. The other way to do it is to throw it in the post, but when you throw it in the post, to get a three, they have to come double. They have to shrink in.
Right.
And sometimes if they don't feel that you can score on them one-on-one in the post, they won't draw the second defender in. So it all depends who you play, what the matchups are. But throwing it in can create three-point opportunities for you.
We've touched on this a few times this year. Like, I look back at the UNLV box score. Again, UNLV shoots 12 of 24. It's hard to beat any team in America when they shoot 50% and make 12 threes in a game. You were 7 of 29, and you've watched the film. I haven't, but correct me if I'm wrong. It felt as if you had as many good, clean three-point looks as maybe you've had, I don't know if it's in any game, but most games this year. I mean, there were some really good looks on Tuesday night. Were you pleased with the shot selection, or was there too much force from beyond the arc? It felt like you got the right looks.
Yeah, I mean, 29 is probably too many for us, John.
Yeah.
Especially the super deep ones. But we knew where the threes were going to come. We created the looks. We knew anything down the baseline, skip across to the corner was going to be open, a post touch to the corner was going to be open. And so arguably, we missed more step-in threes, catch, shoot, open threes, than they made step-back threes off the dribble. We didn't lose shooters. We didn't fall asleep on shooters. But Rich Wayne and Henley, they just shot the ball off the bounce where they created space, stepped back, and made threes. And so you go into a game and say a team's going to beat you with step-back threes, you'd feel like your chances were pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Because the step-in three is the preferred shot as opposed to the, off the dribble three that they were able to hit on Tuesday night. This is off our text line 951, and again 70470. Start it with the word team. He says, Larry Joe here. Ask Coach Dutcher, how are the ongoing conversations going with the players for next year's team?
Yeah, we're talking to them. They're talking to the Mesa Foundation, finding out how much money is available for each player on the team, position-wise, performance-wise, and you think those conversations happen after the season, but a lot of them are happening now. And so you've seen a certain number of players have committed to coming back. Others are still have decisions to be made, but we have to be competitive in the NIL market. That's why this campaign right now, the matching campaign, is going on. Obviously, I heard you talking earlier about the commitment Blenders has made to us, Chase has made to us, Aztec Athletics, and what a wonderful thing. And people are invested in keeping this team together, and that's what our goal is, to find a way to keep this team together. And as good as we are this year, you would think everybody returns a year from now that we would have a chance to be special.
Yeah, that campaign that Dutch is referencing, this matching campaign, is going on right now at mesa-aztecs.com. Every dollar donated is matched by a generous donor for $500,000 of combined donations. I mean, that is incredible. It's going on throughout the month of March, but if you want to support, again, this program, keep this roster intact to the best of your ability, you can donate right now, mesa-aztecs.org. That's mesa-aztecs.org. We had Chase with us earlier today, Dutch, on John and Jim. What has that relationship been like for your staff and your players the last couple of years? Obviously, these collaborations with Mesa and Blenders and San Diego State men's and women's basketball have been valuable monetarily, but I feel like it's even more than that, right? I mean, Chase, his relationship with these student athletes, and from the student athlete perspective, they love stuff like this, like the collaboration with Blenders.
Yeah, this is a San Diego State grad, a homegrown company, started with a dream, built into a magnificent sunglass company. That's all I'm wearing. I'm wearing Blenders sunglasses, and I'm wearing Blenders readers. So, and I think I look pretty good in them. So, Chase has been vitally important to our program. Blenders sunglasses has been vitally important to our program, and it's a San Diego-based company. It's a San Diego State team, and it's a marriage made in heaven as far as I'm concerned. And
if you haven't seen this new release that was literally released today, and they sold out last year, if you want them, grab them at blenderseyewear.com. Again, proceeds go to Mesa. That supports San Diego State men's and women's basketball. And again, if you want to make a contribution and have it matched, go to mesa-aztecs.org right now. That's mesa-aztecs.org right now. There's a question off our text line here, Dutch, as we have you for another moment. It says 619, question for Dutch. Why does it seem like every team has that one unlikely player that just goes off against us? Is that bad luck or bad trend, he asks?
I think UNLV was I saw the exact same game against Nevada. Nevada had step-in threes by their best shooters, and they weren't going in, and they were guarded like crazy, and UNLV, again, was shooting the one-on-one step-back three. And so you can get hot for a number of games, but in the long run, you don't think that is going to win for you consistently.
Right.
But it has for UNLV right now. And we've had guys step up. We're hard to score on, so sometimes they got to take hard shots to beat us. Mm-hmm. And so we run into a night where they get a select shooter, gets hot, they make threes, and it's a hard night. And I would say some of it, too, is when we had Reese, we had more length at that position defensively. Right. We had Bird and Reese. And now, it's not lack of playing hard, it's not lack of contesting, but when you go from a 6'5 guard to a 6'2 guard, guarding the same player, they can be there, but that length contesting the shot is not there. And so we're playing hard, we're in the right spot, but sometimes when you lack length at that position, they're able to shoot over top of the contest.
Dutch, we always appreciate the time. We know it's crazy busy. Saturday night, senior night, white out. Does that mean a white outfit for your staff? Do you guys wear white or no?
I haven't worn white this year, but I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I'll wait to see what Matt Soria puts us in.
Matt Soria will come up with it. Dutch, thank you. Best of luck in the preparation, and we'll see you Saturday night, all right?
Appreciate it, John. Thank you.
All right, great stuff. Brian Dutcher, head coach at San Diego State, getting ready for senior night, another senior night on the Mesa against Saturday night, San Diego State and Nevada at 7:30 with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30. Now, postgame Tuesday night, Ted Leitner caught up with Ryan Battertelli, first-year assistant on Brian Dutcher's staff. If you missed that conversation, you'll hear it on the other side. Plus, still to come, we'll take a look at the Mountain West Standards. Visit windmillfarms.com to see their weekly specials. That's windmillfarms.com. Shop local. Shop at Windmill Farms.
The Brian Dutcher Show rolls on right here on the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, back with you here, Brian Dutcher Show, San Diego Sports 760. Always appreciate Dutch taking time for us. We know how busy it is. March is here. Aztecs play Saturday. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760 at 7:30. It's a whiteout. Remember to wear white. 7:30 is the start time. Ted Leitner's final regular season game calling Aztecs men's basketball. 6:30 pregame coverage, myself and Ben Fletcher from outside VA House Arena. So we touched on the loss to UNLV on Tuesday night. And after the game on Tuesday, speaking of Ted caught up with Ryan Battertelli, first-year assistant coach on Brian Dutcher's staff. So they discuss what transpired on Tuesday night and where the Aztecs go from here. But if you missed that conversation, here it is again. Ted Leitner with Ryan Battertelli Tuesday night from Las Vegas.
What I saw is a game where UNLV got momentum, UNLV got rhythm, and Coach Battertelli in his first year as an assistant coach here, formerly at UC Irvine, your impressions of this ball game, to me, the guys just didn't seem there was something missing in terms of the flow offensively, and just never got something going that could be sustained.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of credit to UNLV.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they had unbelievable energy. It was senior night. They played like it. They played like this was going to be their last night, on their home floor. Obviously, we'll play here next week. The floor will look different.
Right.
They brought it to us. I mean, they were the more energetic team. In a lot of ways, they were the more competitive team. And we let some of our lack of offensive success dictate our defensive level, and that can't happen. We're too far along in the season to not be more resilient. And again, we shot 29 threes. We made 7 of them. And a lot of them were really good shots. But we've emphasized offensively going from good to great. I don't think we went good to great often enough in this game. I don't think we attacked the paint nearly enough. When we did, we went to the free throw line. We didn't make enough of our free throws. And then, again, some of those missed shots, missed free throws, really impacted our defensive level. And that just can't happen. That's not us. I mean, we talk about how defense travels, and no matter what happens on the offensive side of the ball, we're going to have to, dictate the game with our defense and our defensive intensity. And I'll give Wayne McKinney a ton of credit. We came out of a timeout, and Coach Dutcher really challenged him, and I think he set the tone defensively. And when we made a run, we just couldn't sustain it. We weren't good in transition defense. We weren't great in our ball screen defense. We had a lot of missed assignments. I mean, we know what Rich Wayne does, and for him to go 6 of 9 from 3, I mean, that's unacceptable. That's not Aztec defense. I mean, we know personnel tendencies. We know what they can do. We watch enough film. But again, when your shot doesn't go well, doesn't go down on one side, and you come down on defense and you're thinking about that, you don't have the next play mentality, that's what happens. And again, credit to Julian Rishwain for, on his senior night to come out here and have a huge game and elevate them to a win. And he was really good. Henley was really good.
Yep.
And again, I mean, we just didn't have great offensive rhythm and flow. That predicated a little bit of what we did defensively, and that's as disappointing as anything. I mean, for us to, be what we felt like was a deeper team. We felt like we have more guys. They only played 7 guys in this game. Their 7th guy played only 13 minutes. I mean, we feel like we should have worn them out, and they wore us out. And again, that's really disappointing.
No question. And I think and people don't understand about UNLV, because they are not known through the years as a defensive club. But you look at the numbers now overall in terms of points and defending the 2 and the 3. It's San Diego State #1 in the conference. UNLV is second, as you know. So they do well defensively. And I thought the biggest thing that the Aztecs have done so well of late is Nick Boyd on the dribble drive, get downhill, have a layup when he can finish. And they stopped that. They stopped those drives inside the paint, and the credit is to them.
Yeah, we talked about our offense. We showed it over and over again how good they are on the first side. And I think we were too stubborn offensively on the first side. We took it down there. We shot, sometimes the first thing we saw, they're all the way loaded in the paint. I mean, we'll go back and watch film. We'll see 5 guys in the paint, and us trying to shoot over them rather than, playing off 2 feet, making the next play. And again, I mean, a lot of credit to them. I mean, they have length, they have athleticism, and they're playing with a chip and an edge on their shoulder without their point guard.
Right,
and so,
Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, and he's one of the better players in our league. And so you can tell they're playing with a giant chip on their shoulders, because I'm sure a lot of people are counting them out without, someone like DJ Thomas. And again, I mean, that credit to them. I mean, they're playing with an incredible competitive edge, and we weren't able to match it nor surpass it. And you play on someone else's floor. If you're not the most competitive team, especially on the road, especially with your defense, I mean, you're going to get the result that we ended up with tonight, which is extremely disappointing.
No question. And it's like, next man up, which Boyd and Davis have done for you in the absence of Goon. And now those guys, Hill and Hayden and Rich Swain, who averages 8 and got 26, the most by any any Rebel all year long, that's when you tip your cap, as we used to say in baseball. You tip your cap to UNLV. They won this ball game. They were there. Now you got one more at home. I know you're tired of these senior nights. You had one in Wyoming. You had one here. But at least the one Saturday will be for the good guys.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we're excited to honor our seniors. March is in a lot of ways about seniors. I mean, it's the teams whose seniors, elevate their game and play with that sense of urgency, knowing that their career is coming to an end. That really help elevate their teams, and we're really excited to honor our seniors. But the message in the locker room from Dutch was, hey, we need to take this one. We need to learn from it. We need to find a way to win on Saturday. And that's the most important thing we do right now is take whatever lessons we're going to learn from this game, travel back, do whatever we need to do to get right, and then have great practices Thursday and Friday and get ready to protect home court on Saturday and finish the regular season out.
You bet. Ryan Bittertelli, first-year Aztecs coach, as assistant there, and coach will see you on the bus back to the hotel and back to work, as you said, with one left. Nobody thought this would crush any NCAA hopes, so make sure you take care of that one. And like you say, next play, in this case, next game against Nevada, we'll see you then.
Thanks, Ted.
All right, good perspective there. Again, Ryan Battertelli with Ted Leitner. That was after the game, the senior night for UNLV in Las Vegas on Tuesday. And now from an Aztec perspective, and we'll talk about it on the other side as well, you turn the page and you do everything in your power to win moving forward. And that, of course, starts with Saturday night against the University of Nevada here at Viejas Arena. So that's what's most important right now for San Diego State. So turning the page on what happened Tuesday night, losing on senior night at UNLV, and trying to win on senior night here in San Diego. And we'll see if the Aztecs can do that. And again, you can hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760 Saturday night with Ted Leitner on the call at 7:30 p.m.